In our last class, we discussed about the fundamentals of capacitance, capacitors, and also the definition of capacitance, capacitor, and we derived the expression for the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor, and we also discussed about the different types of capacitors based on the shape of the conductor and based on the dielectric medium that's used in the capacitor. Now, in our today's class, we shall derive few equations, means expressions. One, energy stored in the capacitance of a capacitor. That's the first equation we derived today. Then, what will be the effective capacitance when certain number of capacitors are connected in series and as well as in parallel. So, these are the three derivations we are going to derive today. So, let us start with the first equation, which is nothing but the energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. Energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. So, we know already about the parallel plate capacitor. Now, suppose if I consider the two plates of the capacitor which are not charged initially, that means the net charge of this plate is 0 and also of this plate it is equal to 0. What I do means, I bring one positive charge from this plate to this plate. Let us call this as plate 1, this as plate 2. Okay. If I remove one positive charge from this plate 2 and if I make this charge to deposit on this plate, plate 1, now what happens? This plate, by losing one positive charge, now it becomes negatively charged. That means it gains one electron. By losing one positive charge, one electron becomes excess on this plate. Now we say that the plate 1 is positively charged, whereas plate 2 is negatively charged. But while moving the positive charge from plate 2 to plate 1, no work is done. Initial work is equal to 0. Wi I write, initial work. Because work is said to be done while moving the charge from one plate to another plate or from one point to another point only against to the electric field. Initially, before bringing the positive charge from this plate to this plate, it was not at all charged. Initial charge on the plate 1 is 0. When there is no charge on the plate 1, no electric field. So that is why while moving the first positive charge from plate 2 to plate 1, no work is required. That is why I have written initial work is equal to 0. So this plate now acquires one positive charge, whereas this acquires one negative charge. Now there exists an electric field because of this charge. Plate 1 is said to be charged positively. Now what I do means, I bring once again another positive charge from the plate 2 to plate 1. So while moving this positive charge, work should be done against to the electric field, because look at, this is the direction of electric field. So the direction of electric field is from plate 1 to plate 2. Now I am moving one more charge from the plate 2 to the plate 1. While moving this charge, work should be done against to the field. I call that work done as W1. Similarly, now I move one more positive charge from plate 2 to plate 1. That means I bring the charge, I remove the charge from plate 2 to plate 1. If I move, then once again work should be done. Let W2 be the work done. Because already the plate is said to be charged, electric field is existing. Against this field, work should be done once again to move another charge from plate 2 to plate 1. So once again, this by losing one more positive charge, then it becomes further negative. So each time when the plate loses one positive charge, it goes on becoming more and more negative. And each time this plate, by receiving the positive charge from the plate 2, it becomes more and more positively charged. So like this, while moving the charge from one plate to another plate, what are all total work we do, that work will be stored. That work will be stored in the capacitor as energy. That means electric potential energy. Where it is stored? It is stored in the medium between the plates. Now I think you understood how the energy appears here. Energy appears because of moving the charge from one plate to another plate against to the electric field. Why should we move the charge? Because we have to charge both the plates. The two plates of the capacitor must be charged oppositely. For that purpose, we are doing work. Whatever total work you do to charge the plate to plus Q and minus Q, that work will be stored in the medium between the two plates as electric potential energy. Okay. Now, so the concept is clear, how the concept of energy arises in the capacitor. Then derive the expression. What is the total energy now that is stored in this capacitor? For that, let us write one more diagram now. Suppose if I want to charge the capacitor from 0 to Q coulombs, 0 to Q coulombs. Q means, say for example, I want to charge this to 3 microcoulomb. Then what should be the total work done? That total work done in charging this plate positively to 3 microcoulomb and negatively to 3 microcoulomb will be stored in the capacitor as electric potential energy. Now I consider like this. Plus Q is the charge on this plate, minus Q is the charge on this plate. Okay? Now, let V be the potential difference between the two plates and C be the capacitance of the capacitor and D be the distance of separation between the two plates. While charging the capacitor from 0 to any coulombs, here I have taken as an example 3 microcoulomb. What is the potential at any instant of time while charging this capacitor from 0 to Q coulomb? So potential at any instant while charging the capacitor is given by V equal to, we know that C equal to Q by V, then V will be equal to Q by C. Now I assume that the capacitor is charged to 3 microcoulomb completely. I want to charge additionally. Say for example, additionally, then I need to charge this by another 5 microcoulomb. How do you charge? Now this plate has to gain an extra positive charge of how much? 5 microcoulomb, and this plate has to acquire an extra negative charge of 5 microcoulomb. How come it is possible? All that we need to do is follow this procedure, the method in which I explained earlier. Remove the charge in small quantity. Remember, a capacitor cannot be charged at once. If you want to charge this capacitor either to 3 microcoulomb or to 5 microcoulomb or to 10 microcoulomb, charge should be given to both the plates in small quantities. That means bit by bit. means in terms of installments. Small amount of charge should be shifted from one plate to another plate to increase the quantity of the charge on either plate. So I consider like this: let delta Q be the extra charge which is given to this plate. How? By removing this from this plate, from the plate 2. I consider this as plate 1, this as plate 2. So while removing extra charge delta Q, in order to charge this additionally by delta Q, work done against the electric field E is delta W. So remember this: work done to charge additionally by delta Q is given by delta W. How do you write this as? It is nothing but charge you are removing multiplied by the potential. So the delta W equal to charge that is moved, delta Q, from one plate to another. What is the potential difference between the two plates? It is nothing but V. So this basic equation we know very well. I give the charge delta Q, say for example, if it is of 1 microcoulomb. Already this is of 3 microcoulomb. In addition to that, I have given 1 more microcoulomb of charge. If this gains an extra 1 microcoulomb of positive charge, this plate also gains an extra 1 microcoulomb of negative charge. Again, what I do means, I charge this plate additionally by 1 microcoulomb. So delta Q is the charge which is equal to 1 microcoulomb removed from this plate and made to deposit on this plate. Once again, for this, work done is nothing but how much? Delta W itself. So like this, for 1 microcoulomb, work done is delta W. For another microcoulomb, work done is delta W. So for 5 microcoulomb of additional charge, how many delta W's will be there? 5 delta W's will be there if you shift the charge in small quantities of say 1 microcoulomb from one plate to another plate. So finally, if any capacitor is to be charged from 0 to Q coulombs, what should be the total work done? See, in the first case, what I have done means, I have explained how the capacitor is charged and how the potential energy appears in a capacitor. In the second stage, what I am trying to explain means, if a capacitor is already charged to Q coulomb, if the same capacitor is to be charged additionally by 5 microcoulomb or 2 microcoulomb, or in general by an amount delta Q dash or by an amount Q dash equal to 5 microcoulomb, then what should be the work done? That we are finding out by shifting the charge in small quantities, 1 microcoulomb from here to here, 1 microcoulomb from here to here. So like this, 5 times I shift 1 microcoulomb of charge each time, then the capacitor is said to be charged additionally to 5 microcoulomb. That is what I am explaining in the second stage. In the third stage, what I do means, in general, now there is a capacitor. That means uncharged plates are there. Now it is to be charged from 0 to Q coulombs, plus Q and minus Q. Then what is the total work done? What is the total work done? Already we have calculated work done to shift the charge, small amount of charge from one plate to another plate. In general, if it is to be charged to Q coulombs, what is the total work done? You find it out. How do you find? First, you substitute for V. What is V equal to? Q by C. Okay. Now I write here. So total work done is given by W equal to integral of 0 to Q, integral of dW from 0 to Q. Delta W is small work done. W is the total work done. Delta W is small work done to shift the charge in small quantities. In general, to charge completely this capacitor to Q coulombs, total work is given by this equation. Substitute for this delta W, not dW, delta W. What is the delta W? Delta Q into Q by C, 0 to Q. I remove or take 1 by C outside the integral sign, 0 to Q. Then it is nothing but now Q into delta Q. Okay. What does it mean? Integrate Q with respect to Q. Or this can also be expressed like this. Integrate Q into dQ. Why should I use the integral sign? Instead of adding small works delta W plus delta W plus delta W plus delta W, I can add all this once for all by using the integration sign. Now, there is one basic formula. What's the basic formula of integration? Integral of x with respect to x is equal to x square by 2. Only thing is here dx is there. Instead of dx, instead of d, what is there? Delta is there. So I am integrating the same variable. X is there, here also x should be there. Then only this formula holds good. If here it is x and here if it is some other variable like y, z or k, then the formula changes. Q is there, here also Q is there. So according to that, what can I write? I can write this as 1 over C into, if you integrate this, Q into delta Q means x into dx, x square by 2. So here it will be Q square by 2. Don't forget to write the limits 0 to Q. Okay. Now I take 2 outside, then it will become 1 over 2C into Q square 0 to Q. All that I need to do is apply the limits. Okay. First I apply the upper limit according to the integration rule. In place of Q, I substitute, if I substitute Q, what do I get? Q itself. So this is 1 over 2C. In place of Q, if I substitute Q, I get back Q square only. Suppose if upper limit x is there here, and if I substitute x to this, then what do we get? X square we get. But here Q itself is there. So in place of Q, Q means Q square. Then we substitute lower limit, minus of lower limit. In place of Q, if you substitute 0, then we get Q square minus 0. If you simplify this further, then what do we get? We get this as equal to 1 over 2C. Q square minus 0 is Q itself, but for Q I substitute the value. Q is given by C into V whole square. So because Q equal to CV is the substitution made, then this is equal to 1 over 2C. It will be C square into V square. 1C and C gets cancelled. This is nothing but half into CV square. So this is the total work done in charging the capacitor from 0 to Q coulombs. Okay. So if you want to charge this from 0 to Q coulomb, this is the total work done. But this total work will be stored in the same capacitor as electric potential energy. So I can replace this work by potential energy term, that's U, which is equal to half into CV square. What is this U? This U is nothing but the potential energy. What type of potential energy? Electric potential energy. Okay, electric potential energy. So this is the expression. This expression almost looks like a kinetic energy equation, but this is not kinetic, this is potential. Understand? Kinetic energy of mv square, but this, though the equation looks like kinetic energy, but it is purely electric potential energy. We know that most of the electronic circuits consists of capacitors, maybe ceramic capacitor, maybe electrolytic capacitor, maybe mica capacitor. So varieties of capacitors we come across in almost all the electronic circuits. In such circuits, sometimes we need to increase the capacitance, we need to decrease the capacitance. So effective value, that means the total capacitance value, should be sometimes high and sometimes it should be low. Then in such a case, if we do not get a capacitor of the required value, then what shall we do now? So we are going to connect the capacitors either in series or in parallel to get the required value. So fixed value of capacitors may not be available, it may not be manufactured. So by connecting the capacitors in the required way, that means either in series or in parallel, the required value of capacitance can be matched. So one such combination or connection of capacitor is nothing but capacitors in series. That means if you are given two or more than two capacitors, say for example, I consider now only two capacitors. If I mind, I can connect n number of capacitors. So these are the two capacitors. When do we say that capacitors are said to be connected in series? If one plate of one capacitor is connected to one plate of other capacitor, like this. So this plate of first capacitor of capacitance C1, this plate is the second plate of first capacitor, and this plate is the first plate of second capacitor of capacitance C2. So these two capacitors having capacitance C1 and C2 are connected like this. Now this combination is said to be in series. So the answer for the question that when do we say that capacitors are in series is they are said to be in series if the potential difference across each capacitor is different and the charge on each capacitor is same. Then only we say that the two capacitors are said to be connected in series. Now let the first plate of the first capacitor possess a charge plus Q. That means it is charged to plus Q. Then this plate, that means second plate of the first capacitor, is charged to minus Q coulombs, means it is charged negatively. Magnitude of the charge on this plate is equal to magnitude of the charge on this plate. Magnitude wise same, nature wise different. But the question is here, how do you charge all the plates of the capacitor? Now the two capacitors which are connected in series between the 2 points A and B now are said to be connected to a cell or a battery. If I do so, then what happens? Now this plate is going to lose the electron because the positive terminal pulls the electron from the first plate of the first capacitor. As a result of this, if the electron moves out of the plate like this towards the positive terminal, then by losing electron it becomes positively charged. Now then what about this plate now, which was whose charge is initially 0. This plate now, due to charging by induction, acquires equal amount of negative charge on the inner surface, whereas on the outer surface equal amount of positive charges are induced. Suppose if this plate has 5 microcoulomb of positive charge, on the inner surface of the second plate 5 microcoulomb of negative charge will be induced. On the outer surface, once again 5 microcoulomb of positive charges are induced. Once again, the electron from the second plate moves through this wire. Positive charge doesn't move. We know very well that positive charge never moves through metallic wire. It's only the electron that moves through the metallic wire. So the electron starts moving from this plate. So this electron moves toward this plate and they combine with these positive charges. So this electron combines with this electron combines with this combines with this. So like this, all positive charges are neutralized. So because of the motion of the electron from this plate to this plate, all the positive charges are neutralized. Now only negative charges are left. Now this, by losing electron, becomes positively charged. Again, this side, inner side of the second plate gets negative charge by induction, means due to charging by induction. Outer surface acquires equal amount of positive charge due to charging by induction again. These positive charges are neutralized by the flow of electron from this side. From the negative terminal, electron starts flowing like this. Okay, so this electron combines with these positive charges. As a result of this, all positive charges are neutralized, means vanishes from this plate. Okay, now this plate also acquires same amount of charge, plus Q and minus Q. That is what I have written. Charge on each capacitor is same. What the charge on this capacitor? It is Q. What the charge on the second capacitor? Q. But the potential difference across the first capacitor, across means between the plates, two plates of the first capacitor, is V1. Similarly, potential difference between the two plates of the second capacitor is V2. If total potential is V, that means if this potential is of, let us say, 5 volt, V1 is different, V2 is different. V1 may be 3 volt, V2 may be 2 volt, or V1 may be 4 volt, V2 may be 1 volt. V1 plus V2 will be equal to V, which is equal to 5 volt. That means the voltage gets divided to both these capacitors unequally, not equally. Why unequally divides means because the capacitance values are not same, they are different. Depending upon the capacitance value, the voltage gets divided across each capacitor. So this is how we can charge the capacitor and we can make the capacitor to acquire different potentials. Now coming to the mathematical part. What is the physical quantity that is changing in this series combination circuit? It's the potential difference, because charges are same. Capacitance are also different, but this remains to be standard. So the physical quantity that's changing is voltage, means potential difference. So I write like this: potential difference across first capacitor is given by V1 equal to, what's the formula? We know that C equal to, basic formula is known, C equal to Q by V. If you cross multiply this, what do we get? V equal to Q by C. So Q divided by C1. Across this, V1 is the potential difference which is given by Q divided by C1. Similarly, what the potential difference across second capacitor? It is given by now V2 equal to Q divided by C2. Okay, V2 equal to Q divided by C2. What's the total potential difference across AB? The total potential difference across AB is V, which can be taken as equal to V1 plus V2. So let us find out the total potential difference. Total potential difference across AB means across the combination. Across the combination is V equal to V1 plus V2. What is V1? Q divided by C1. What is V2? Q divided by C2. Now remove Q outside, which is a common term. Then it is 1 over C1 plus 1 over C2. So this is the total potential difference across the combination, means across AB. That is what we have written. Across the combination means across AB. Okay. Now, what I do means, see, instead of connecting two capacitors between A and B, I connect only one capacitor. I connect now one capacitor between A and B instead of connecting two capacitor, and I consider the capacitance of this capacitor as equal to CS, where CS is known as equivalent capacitance of series combination. So CS is known as equivalent capacitance of series combination. Okay. Now, what is the total potential difference across AB? It is V. I write that same V. What is the total charge between the point A and the point B? It is Q itself, which is same on each capacitor. So this is plus Q and this is minus Q. So this plate gets charged positively, this plate gets charged negatively. See, instead of connecting two, I connected one. I give one simple example. Instead of keeping two coins of 1 rupee, I can keep only one coin of 2 rupee, because the amount remains to be same. One coin of 2 rupee is equivalent to two coins of 1 rupee each. So that is what we have done here. We can compare like that. Now, what is the potential difference across AB for this effective capacitance or equivalent capacitance? Either I can call this as equivalent, or I can also call this as effective capacitance. So for this effective capacitance, what is the potential difference? Potential difference is given by V across AB. Okay? Potential difference across AB is given by V equal to Q. What the Q? It is the charge on this equivalent or on this single capacitor. Q divided by, what is the capacitance? It is CS. You call this as equation 2. So this is the potential difference for two separate capacitors, total potential difference. This is the potential difference for one single capacitor known as equivalent capacitor. This one single capacitor is equivalent to these two, and its capacitance is equivalent to the capacitance of these two. Now if I compare equation 1 with equation 2, I call this as equation 1. On comparing 1 and 2, what do I get? So comparing 1 and 2, I get this as, look here, comparing 1 and 2, we get Q by CS. Left hand side of 1 and 2 are same, V and V. Therefore, right hand side of 1 must be equal to right hand side of 2. That means right hand side of 1 is Q into 1 over C1 plus 1 over C2. What is right hand side of equation 2? It is Q by CS, which is written here. So, which is the term that can get cancelled here? Q and Q gets cancelled. Then 1 over CS equal to 1 over C1 plus 1 over C2. This is the expression for the effective capacitance of series combination when two capacitors are connected in series. Okay, how do you generalize this? Reciprocal of effective capacitance, since it is 1 over, CS is just below 1. Therefore, I call this as reciprocal of effective capacitance is equal to sum of the reciprocal of individual capacitance. Reciprocal of effective capacitance is equal to sum of the reciprocal of individual capacitance. This is how we can generalize. Similarly, now we can derive the expression for the effective capacitance of capacitors in parallel. Capacitors are said to be connected in parallel like this when, if the charge on each capacitor is different. Look here, charge on first capacitor is Q1. That means first plate has plus Q1 charge, second plate has minus Q1 charge. Once again, magnitude of the charge is same, but the nature wise it is different. Whereas the charge on the second capacitor is not Q1, just like this, it is Q2. So that is what we have written. Charge on each capacitor is different. On this it is Q1, on this it is Q2. Whereas potential difference across each capacitor is same. Suppose if V is the potential difference between the two terminals of a battery, then the same potential exists across this capacitor, that means V, and also across this capacitor, which is equal to V. Understand? Now, potential across each is same, charges are different. If these two conditions are satisfied, then we say that the capacitors are said to be connected in parallel. Like this, I can connect n number of capacitors in parallel. If the question is asked for 1 mark like this, when do we say that capacitors are in parallel? Then you have to write these points. Now once again, for the effective capacitance of this parallel combination, what's the equation that we have to derive? Here, which is the physical quantity that is changing? It is the charge. Whereas in previous case, it is nothing but potential. In series, potentials are different, V1 and V2, charges are same. Whereas in parallel, charges are different, potential is same. Look here, from this terminal, suppose if Q is the charge that comes out from the positive terminal of the battery, at this point, that means at this junction means it's the meeting point of this first capacitor and also the second capacitor, where the first plate of both the capacitors are meeting at this point. So this is the junction point. So when the charge Q enters into junction, it splits into two parts. One part flows like this as Q1 and the other part flows like this as Q2. So the charge gets divided unequally, not equally, because the capacitance are different. That's why the charge also gets divided unequally. Suppose if this total charge is, let us say, 10 microcoulomb. Now this capacitor may have a charge of 7 microcoulomb, whereas this may have a charge of only 3 microcoulomb. Or this may have a charge of, let us say, 8 microcoulomb. This may have a charge of 2 microcoulomb. It all depends upon the amount of capacitance. So As a result of this, Q1 gets charged positively and this gets charged negatively. As I explained in the series combination, it is due to charging by induction. This plate gets charged. This plate gets charged positively. Due to induction, this plate gets charged negatively. Same thing happens for this also. On this side, due to charging, what is left? Positive charges are left. But these positive charges are neutralized. How? By the flow of electron from this side. Electron flows like this. After reaching the junction, it splits. Few electrons moves like this and combines with these positive charges and neutralizes. Few more electrons will move like this and combines with these positive charges and neutralizes. So finally, negative charges are left on these two plates. Same as the previous one. Now, I write the expression for the charge on the first capacitor. So, charge on first capacitor is given by Q1 equal to C1 into V. Okay, because we know the relation, what is it? C equal to Q by V. If you cross multiply this, then Q will be equal to C into V. Similarly, charge on second capacitor is given by Q2 equal to C2 into V. Okay. Now, what is the total charge? The total charge is Q, which got divided into Q1 and Q2. So, Q split into Q1 and Q2. So, I write like this. Total charge Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. Total charge of what? Total charge of combination. Okay. So, Q equal to Q1 plus Q2. Substitute for Q1. What is Q1? C1 into V plus C2 into V. Remove V as a common factor. Now, this is the total charge of the entire combination across A and B. Okay. So, Q enter splits into Q1 and Q2. Once again here Q1 combines, Q2 combines together to produce the main charge Q. Once again, what I assume means, instead of connecting two capacitors like this in parallel between A and B, I connect only one capacitor. So, between A and B, I connect only one capacitor. What's the potential difference between A and B? Between A and B, the potential difference is V, because A is connected to positive and the terminal B is connected to negative. Between these two, V is the potential difference. Same thing exists here. And what's the total charge between the 2 points A and B? It is nothing but Q. Q enters and Q leaves out the junction. So, this plate will have a charge now plus Q, and this plate will have a charge minus Q, like this. What is the total capacitance of this capacitor? The capacitance of the single capacitor is taken as Cp. What is Cp? Cp is nothing but effective capacitance, effective or equivalent capacitance of which combination? Of parallel combination. Parallel combination. Okay. So, C for effective and P for parallel. That means I remove two capacitors. In the place of A and B, instead of two, I connect this single capacitor. Same example you can consider. Okay. So, instead of keeping two notes of 1 rupee each, we can keep only one note or one currency of 2 rupee. Okay. Now, what is the effective capacitance of this capacitor let us write one equation for that. Effective capacitance of this parallel combination. In order to get that equation, I write once again the expression for the charge on this equivalent capacitor. So, total charge on equivalent capacitor is Q equal to, what is the total charge? Q equal to C, C means Cp into V, potential difference. Call this as equation 2 and this as equation 1. Now you compare the equation 1 with equation 2. If I compare, then what do I get? See, on comparing 1 and 2, we get left hand side same, Q and Q are there. Right hand side of this must be equal to right hand side of this. So, Cp into V equal to V into C1 plus C2. V and V gets cancelled. Then what do we get now? Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. So, this is the expression for the effective capacitance of the parallel combination. How do you generalize this? Effective capacitance of parallel combination is equal to sum of the individual capacitances. Whereas for series, it is 1 over Cs equal to 1 over C1 plus 1 over C2. This is for series combination. How do you generalize this? The series combination. Reciprocal of effective capacitance is equal to sum of the reciprocal of individual capacitances. You see the difference between these two equations. So, in our next class, we shall explain about this equation and we shall see about the difference between the series and parallel combination of capacitors. Thank you.